What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Heads Up SA, where we unpack the biggest political drama shaping South Africa right now. Tension inside Parliament's ad hoc committee, where General Sibiya's much anticipated testimony got interrupted before it even began. The reason? A fierce debate over whether MK Party MP David Skosana should recuse himself from questioning Sibiya, a man he's personally laid criminal charges against, alongside Minister of Police Senzo. Let's get into it. The ad hoc committee session opened with an unexpected twist. The evidence leader, Advocate Norman Arendse, raised a major concern, saying two MPs, DA's Lisa Shikering and MK Party's David Skosana, should step aside from Sibiya's testimony. According to Arendse, both had lodged criminal complaints against General Sibiya and Minister of Police Senzo, and that alone created a conflict of interest.
I think most, if not all of us in this room, even before I was appointed as an evidence lead in this matter, we all follow the news, we all read the papers, and most of us, all of us, tend to form some kind of opinion. But that's a lay opinion. But when you find yourself sitting on a committee that now actually, not quite like a court of law, but sitting in judgment of a particular person, I think one is duty-bound for constitutional, legal, and ethical reasons. But what I wanted to, that's why I wanted to raise it with the Honourable Chair.
Yeah, it's fine.
Maybe it's something that should have been discussed by the committee.
Let's do this first, because
the DA didn't waste time clearing its name. Glenys Breitenbach confirmed that Lisa Shikering has already been released and replaced on the committee, precisely to avoid any conflict. Simple, efficient, they handled it before the fireworks began. But the MK Party took a different stance. They flat out refused to accept that David Skosana was conflicted. In their view, Skosana has every right to question General Sibiya, and there's nothing in the rules preventing him from doing so. For them, this wasn't about fairness. It was about silencing one of Sibiya's strongest critics.
That is not true. When you lay a complaint, you are directing the police officers to investigate. The same thing that we are doing here. Prima facie can only be formulated by the police officers through an investigation. Two, it's not Skosana who laid the complaint. Skosana is a messenger of the MK Party. It's the MK Party that laid the complaint. So, if we are saying conflict of interest arises in that context, then it means we are saying the MK Party must not participate here. Because I also share the same sentiments that Skosana shares. And all MK members share the same sentiment, that there is a rot in the police and that warranted our action to lay a complaint. So when you lay a complaint, where does prima facie get in there? You have not formulated any prima facie. You are just saying to the police, there are areas that necessitate investigation, and you have the competency as the police officers to investigate. So that is why, Chair, when I was listening to you unpacking what transpired before we arrived, I was actually confused as to what is the issue here, really, because I was going to understand if there was something that was implicating Honorable Skosana, if maybe in the testimony that will be accused here by General Sibiya, there was the name of Honorable Skosana maybe as one of the suspects on a certain aspect, like in the case of the member of the DA that we are no longer seeing here as part of us. So where is the issue here, Senior Counsel? Where is the issue? You have not really done enough to convince us, except laying statements which are vague and which are not convincing. So, Chair, up until we are convinced, really, maybe we can start to have a discussion about this. But from where I'm sitting, there is nothing that warrants discussions at this stage because there is actually no issue. We're just fundraising issues.
But here is where it got really interesting, because both Arendse and General Sibiya's legal team agreed that Skosana should not participate. They argued that since Skosana opened a criminal case against Sibiya and Senzo Mchunu, his presence on the panel compromises impartiality. In their words, you can't be both an accuser and an interrogator in the same process. That argument clearly favored Sibiya and raised eyebrows among the committee members. As tensions rose, the chair of the committee stepped in. He requested that General Sibiya leave the room temporarily, giving the committee space to discuss the issue behind closed doors. Essentially, the chair said we can't continue with testimony until this conflict question is settled. The move paused the entire session, leaving everyone wondering if this was about ethics or strategy. Now, let's be honest, this isn't just about procedural fairness. It's about control of narrative. Sibiya and the evidence leaders' push for Skosana's recusal isn't only about neutrality, it's also about limiting who gets to question Sibiya. The MK party has been relentless in linking General Sibiya to alleged misconduct under the watch of the police minister Senzo Mchunu. So removing David Skosana, one of the loudest voices challenging Sibiya's credibility, could mean fewer uncomfortable questions when the real interrogation begins. So, where does this leave the committee? Will MK Party's David Skosana be forced to step aside, or will the chair allow him to stay and confront the very man he's accused? Either way, today's session shows us that the politics behind the inquiry might be just as explosive as the testimony itself. You are watching Heads Up SA, where we dig deeper into the stories that shape our democracy. Make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell, because when Sibiya finally takes the stand, we will have the full breakdown right here on Heads Up SA, keeping you informed, sharp, and one step ahead. Keep your heads up, SA.
Do you think it's fair to speak on a matter where your name is subject of discussion?
Yeah, in fact, I just want... It's about me. I'm not going to comment on this, but I just wanted to support my colleague to say it's improper to say the evidence leader is not giving advice. He's giving advice. The fact of the matter is that he's giving advice. And you said the proposal was that Andile, like Honorable Brechenbach was saying, the Andile is from the Parliamentary Legal Service. He has mentioned what must happen. But now we are debating that with the SC. I mean, with the SC, our evidence leader. I don't think it's fair. In other words, we are saying, I don't want to go to the merits to say it's wrong for Umkhonto Wesizwe party to open a case against anyone in this country. Therefore, it means Umkhonto Wesizwe won't be able to participate in parliament when this matter is going to be debated.
But you are going back to debate the issue that,
thank you, Chair.
That we have.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to highlight that the SC is giving legal advice. It's not giving any other thing. It's not questioning the witness. Is arguing that MKP should not be here. It's not about me. This is not a private matter. Umkhonto Wesizwe has opened a case.
I want to know.
Thank you, Chair.
Do you still need some time to talk on this matter that involves your name?
No, Chair, I'll listen. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you once again, Chair. Chair, we are not happy with how the senior counsel is approaching this matter. He is not giving any direction. That is number one. He has just narrated the events. That so and so opened the case on this date and so on, and says it is up to this committee to make a decision. He does not even go to an extent of raising a legal principle so that we can know where we premise our discussions. I asked, what is an issue here? Is an issue about a conflict of interest? Because if the issue is a conflict of interest, then let us argue from that point. The senior counsel just narrates event. He does not cite the law. He does not cite any legal principle that will guide us in this context. The same thing he did when we were discussing the Honorable Barnard matter. He kept quiet. We did not receive any legal advice from him regarding that matter. Whereas he was employed to advise this committee inter alia during the course of its work. He was not only advised to lead evidence and write statements, he was advised to give us legal advices so that we do everything in accordance with the relevant laws. Now, he just narrates like a layperson to say so-and-so went to a police station, he opened the case, then the committee must decide. He is throwing you, Chairperson, to the deep end because you will make wrong summaries and wrong determinations for this committee which are not in line with the law. As a legal advisor, as the starting point, he must say, this is what the law says in this regard. Then the committee can argue from that perspective, not from a perspective of narrating events that have been narrated. That thing can be done by anyone. It can be done even by a 6-year-old to say Skosana on this date went and opened the case, then the committee must decide. He's an aspect here. He must play his role. Secondly, Chair, we have said that even on the question of a conflict of interest, it does not arise in this point because Skosana is not a witness before this committee. He went to the police on behalf of the MK party, not on behalf of his family, not on his behalf, not on behalf of his company, but on behalf of the MK party to lay charges against General Sibiya. So if you say on those bases he must be recused, it means you are saying the MK party must be recused. Now the question is, if we were dealing with an ordinary committee here, the portfolio committee on police, what was going to be the case? Because these matters have been accounted for even before the portfolio committee on police, these matters, after the case was opened by Skosana. So it means you are going to say Skosana must not play his constitutional responsibility as an MP of doing oversight because he opened the case. The case, Chair, is to be investigated by a component falling in a different arm of the state, the police. Parliament is doing its work here as Parliament. We're doing our own investigation, which is not going to be influenced by how the police have investigated this matter. Because we're not only investigating General Sibiya here, we are also investigating the police holistically. So we don't know what is it that we are actually dealing with here. And the senior counsel is not helping this committee, Chairperson. If anything, he is just exacerbating our problems. He comes here and speaks like a layman and say, this is what happened, then you must decide. What does the law say? So that we can argue it from that. If we can approach our lawyers now and say there's an issue in the committee with regards to Honorable Skosana, they will say, but what is the issue? And we will have nothing to say because there is absolutely nothing that is put before us to say here is a crisis. Like we argued the case of Honorable Barnard, that in our view, his continued stay in this committee constitute a conflict of interest. So, Chairperson, we are not sure of what we are discussing here, and in our view, the senior counsel is not doing justice for this committee. He's just exacerbating confusions, and we think he can do better than that. Maybe let's afford him an opportunity to tell us about the law, to say these are the legal principles that are guiding us in this context, and here is my advice as a legal advisor. Thank you very much.
The ANC.
Thanks, Chair. I think to a larger extent, the point that is made by the MK part, I was hoping that before we intervene as other parties, you may